Every traveler has made them. Some of them cost money. Some of them cost time. Some of them cost the entire experience of a trip that should have been extraordinary. Travel mistakes, the kind that seem obvious in hindsight but are almost invisible in the moment, happen to almost everyone. And the frustrating thing is that most of them are completely avoidable. Today, we are going to walk through the 10 most common travel mistakes that tourists make all over the world, and exactly how to avoid every single one of them. Whether you are planning your first trip or your 50th, at least one of these will change the way you travel. Mistake number 1. Overpacking. It starts with the best intentions. You want to be prepared. You want options. You want to make sure that no matter what happens, the unexpected dinner, the sudden rainstorm, the day that calls for something smarter than what you planned, you have exactly what you need. And so you pack more, and then a little more. And by the time you zip up your bag, it weighs more than you do and contains enough clothing for 3 weeks on a trip that lasts 5 days. Overpacking is one of the most common and most consequential travel mistakes a person can make, because it affects everything. It slows you down at the airport. It costs you money in checked bag fees. It makes moving through a city harder and less enjoyable. And almost universally, when travelers return home, they discover that they used about half of what they packed. The solution is simple but requires discipline. Pack for the most likely scenario, not every possible scenario. Choose versatile pieces in a coordinated color palette. Roll instead of fold. And when you think you are done packing, take out 2 items. You will never miss them. Mistake number 2. Not having travel insurance. This is the mistake that most people never regret, until the one trip when everything goes wrong. A missed connection that strands you in an unfamiliar city. A medical situation that requires treatment in a foreign country. A natural event, a storm, a strike, an unexpected closure that cancels plans you have spent months making. Without travel insurance, every one of these situations becomes not just stressful but financially devastating. With it, most of them become inconveniences rather than disasters. Travel insurance is not expensive. For most trips, it costs a fraction of what you have already spent on flights and accommodation. And the peace of mind it provides, the knowledge that if something goes genuinely wrong, you are protected, changes the entire experience of travel. You move through your trip with a confidence and a lightness that is simply not possible when you are quietly aware that a single unexpected event could cost you thousands of dollars. Get the insurance every time, without exception. Mistake number 3. Exchanging money at the airport. You land, you are tired, you need local currency immediately. And there, right in front of you as you exit arrivals, is a currency exchange booth. It is convenient. It is right there. And the rates it is offering are some of the worst you will find anywhere in the destination country. Airport currency exchange booths exist in high traffic, captive audience locations, and their rates reflect that. The difference between the rate they offer and the rate you would get from a local bank ATM can be significant, sometimes as much as 10 or 15% on a sizable amount of money. That is a real loss. The solution is straightforward. Arrive with a small amount of local currency already in your wallet, obtained before you left home, or withdraw from a bank ATM after you arrive. And if you travel frequently, a travel credit card with no foreign transaction fees will save you money on every single purchase you make abroad. Mistake number 4. Not researching local customs and etiquette. Every culture has its own set of unspoken rules, things that are considered polite, impolite, respectful, disrespectful, and what is perfectly acceptable in one country can be deeply offensive in another. Tourists who do not take the time to understand these differences before they travel often cause offense without ever realizing it, and miss out on the warmth and welcome that comes from showing genuine respect for the place you are visiting. In some countries, the left hand is considered unclean and should not be used to pass food or greet someone. In others, pointing with a single finger is considered rude. In some cultures, entering a home or a sacred space without removing your shoes is deeply disrespectful. Tipping practices vary enormously. In some countries, tipping is expected and not tipping is offensive. In others, it is considered unnecessary or even slightly insulting. None of these things require extensive research. 30 minutes of reading before you travel is enough to understand the basics. And the result of that 30 minutes is a trip where you move through the culture with confidence and respect rather than accidentally causing friction at every turn. Mistake number 5. Planning every single minute of the trip. There is a kind of traveler who arrives at a destination with a schedule planned to the hour. Every museum, every restaurant, every attraction booked in advance, every moment accounted for. And while preparation is valuable, over-planning creates a travel experience that feels more like work than like discovery. Because the best things that happen on any trip, the unexpected conversation with a local that leads to a restaurant you would never have found, the market you stumble into by taking a wrong turn, the view that reveals itself when you decide spontaneously to climb a hill, happen in the spaces between the planned things. Leave room in your itinerary for the unplanned. Build in hours with no agenda, time to wander, to sit in a square, and watch the world go by, to follow your curiosity without a destination in mind. Some of the most memorable travel experiences of a lifetime have come from a moment when someone simply said, "Let's see what's down this street." Give yourself that permission. The schedule will wait. Mistake number 6. Ignoring the neighborhoods outside the tourist center. Every major travel destination has a tourist center, the area around the most famous sites, where the souvenir shops are, where the restaurants have menus in 6 languages and photos of every dish, where the prices are highest and the authenticity is lowest. And most tourists spend the majority of their time there, because it is easy, because it is convenient, because it is where the guidebook told them to go. But the real character of almost every city, the food that locals actually eat, the neighborhoods where real life happens, the markets and parks and gathering places that tourists almost never see, exists just outside that tourist center, often just a 10 or 15-minute walk away. The traveler who ventures into those neighborhoods, who sits in a local cafe rather than a tourist restaurant, who shops in a neighborhood market rather than a souvenir shop, has a completely different experience of the place. A richer experience, a more real experience, and almost always, a significantly cheaper one. Mistake number 7. Not learning a single word of the local language. This is perhaps the simplest mistake on this list, and the one with the most disproportionate impact when corrected. You do not need to be fluent. You do not need to take a course or spend weeks studying. You need 10 words. Hello, thank you, please, excuse me, sorry, yes, no, whereas, how much, and the willingness to use them, imperfectly, with a smile. The response that these 10 words generate, in almost every culture in the world, is extraordinary. People's faces change. The interaction becomes warmer. Help is offered more readily. You are no longer just a tourist passing through. You are a visitor who has made an effort, who has shown respect, who has acknowledged that the place you are visiting has its own language, and its own way of doing things. That acknowledgement costs you almost nothing, and it returns something that no amount of money can buy. Mistake number 8. Not making copies of important documents. Your passport is lost, or stolen, or left in the hotel safe of a hotel you checked out of 3 cities ago. It happens. It happens to careful, organized, experienced travelers. And when it happens without a copy of your passport, your travel insurance documents, your visa, and your emergency contact information, the process of resolving the situation becomes dramatically more complicated and time-consuming than it needs to be. Before every trip, make digital copies of every important document, passport, visa, insurance policy, hotel confirmations, flight details, and store them somewhere accessible from any device. A secure cloud storage service, an email to yourself, a dedicated travel folder that you can access from your phone even without a data connection, and carry physical photocopies in a separate location from your originals, so that if your bag is stolen, you still have the copies. This takes 20 minutes before you leave home, and it can save you days of difficulty if something goes wrong. Mistake number 9. Spending the whole trip looking at it through a screen. Every extraordinary view, every beautiful meal, every sunset, every market, every moment of genuine wonder, photographed, filmed, filtered, and posted, and then gone, because you were looking at it through a screen rather than with your own eyes. Photography is wonderful. Memories matter. But there is a difference between capturing a moment and consuming it, and the traveler who spends the majority of their experience behind a lens often returns home with thousands of images and the nagging feeling that they were not quite fully there. The colors were more vivid in person. The sounds were something the video cannot capture. The smell of the air, the feeling of the sun, the particular quality of the light at that specific moment, in that specific place, none of that is in the photograph. Take your pictures, enjoy them, and then put the phone in your pocket. Turn your face toward the experience, and be completely, fully, unreservedly present. That is what you came for, and that is what you will remember. Mistake number 10. Comparing the destination to home. This is perhaps the subtlest mistake on this list, and in some ways the most damaging to the travel experience. It is the traveler who spends their trip noticing everything that is different from home and experiencing those differences as deficiencies rather than as discoveries. The food is different, the pace is different, the way things work is different, and rather than approaching those differences with curiosity and openness, they approach them with frustration or disappointment. Every place in the world has its own logic, its own rhythm, its own way of doing things that makes complete sense within its own context, and that has often been refined over centuries of lived experience. The traveler who approaches a new place with the assumption that their way of doing things is the right way misses almost everything that makes travel worthwhile, because what travel offers, at its deepest and most valuable, is the opportunity to see the world through a completely different set of eyes, to understand that there are many ways to live, many ways to organize a society, many ways to prepare a meal or greet a stranger, or mark the passing of time, and that all of them are worth understanding. Go with curiosity, go with openness, go with the willingness to be surprised, to be wrong, to discover that something you had never imagined is better than anything you knew before. That is what travel is for, and avoiding these 10 mistakes is the best way to make sure you actually get there.